What is up, guys? Dale_A here, and this is a new podcast, Bat and Spider. My friend Chuck and I are going to talk about drive-in quality horror movies, things like that. It's going to be pretty fun. When we recorded this podcast, we did not have any email addresses or phone numbers for voicemails, but since then we have set that all up, and I wanted to just kind of a pendant here to the front of the first pilot episode of Bat and Spider. If you wanted to send us any letters you want us to read live on the air, please do that. batandspiderpod@gmail.com. If you want to leave a voicemail, we have a phone number, 315-544-0966. That is 315-544-0966. Or you could send a voice memo to the email address batandspiderpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and please enjoy the show.
Bat and Spider, Episode 1, The Driller Killer.
Bat and Spider. I'm saying already. Chuck and Dale were two friends who were pressured into doing a podcast by other friends. And we said, we're going to do what we want.
And what we want is an excuse, at least for me, I don't want to speak for you, but I want an excuse to watch low-rent horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Schlock, grindhouse stuff, you know?
We need depravity. Depravity? We need depravity, and we need it now.
Yes. I need it maybe on a weekly basis. I don't know if this is weekly. We'll see.
We'll see the feedback.
Yeah.
We'll check the feedback. We're talking about voicemails. We're talking about letters. That they're back in a big way
not?
For podcasts.
We'll hear from the listeners.
Yeah.
Talk about their favorite garbage. But yeah, Dale, what's our first movie that we're watching?
So our first movie in the Bat and Spider pantheon is called Driller Killer.
Oh,
Chuck, you want to tell the audience about anything about Driller Killer?
Sure. Yeah, we made a little list, of a little wish list, and we decided we wanted to do something that neither of us had seen. And there's this movie, The Driller Killer, by Abel Ferrara, who was one of my favorite filmmakers. And I'd never seen it. It's his first movie. And it's violent, and it's about New York. It's a very New York City movie, which is playing on I've had like the Safdie brothers on the brain the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually friends with Abel Ferrara. Like he's been in one of their movies. I caught him in one of their in Daddy Longlegs. He's in there. Plays like a street bum, I think, who mugs the main character. And so yeah, this is the Driller Killer. Oh, and I don't know if you know, Dale, but the main dude in this movie, Reno, that's Abel Ferrara.
After watching the movie, I do know that.
Yeah, he used the name Jimmy Lane for some reason for his actor name.
I actually hadn't even noticed that. I just noticed I compared his face to that of Wikipedia's face for Abel Ferrara.
And what a face, right?
Oh man, a face only the Driller Killer could love.
What's the Driller Killer about?
The Driller Killer is about art, man. It's about it is about a Manhattan Island that I think has been so stereotyped in like 70s and 80s movies that you would never want to step foot in Manhattan.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
It's such a character in this movie because it is just so scurvy of a place to be, right? I mean, scurv is a good name for it, and it's about Reno and Pamela and Diane.
Carol?
It's about Reno and his two roommates, and Reno is an artist.
Air quoting roommates, because I'm pretty sure it's a three-person triangle situation.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
wow.
wow.
Pretty sure.
You might be right. Maybe it was just implied and we were just supposed to know that going in, you know? I just thought it was like some free love type of,
Yeah.
you know, artist in this living in squalor.
Every inch of every physical space in this movie is disgusting.
It really, yes.
We're recording this during a quarantine and watching this movie I was just like disgusted by everything, like the kitchen and like laying on the kitchen counter drinking. What was he drinking? He's taking his Advil and plop plop fizz
God.
fizz.
Yeah, Alka-Seltzer, right?
Alka-Seltzer.
On his counter bed. And there's no kitchen table. There is a table, but it's holding like art supplies. So they sit in another room on the floor on a blanket and they eat the most disgusting looking pizza
Oh my
you've
God.
probably ever seen in your life.
Do we want to get into that pizza? Okay. The pizza, what was it? It was like half cheese, half
like
green
long
peppers.
hots, like green pepper pizza, yeah.
But it didn't even look like it had cheese on it, right? There was something weird about the pizza when I was looking at it. And
Yeah, it was like that weird, if you've ever eaten a piece of pizza and the cheese is flopped off and you saw like the under of the pizza and it looks like white brain material.
Yeah.
It's like weird dough with like pasta sauce in the crevices and whatnot.
And it was way too long of the scene of
Oh my
Reno
gosh.
eating this.
But that's the beauty of some of these shots. It's just like raw, and it pushes it almost to the limits of what you could bear watching, but in such a good, effective way. So Reno is an artist, and he working on a big piece right now, and he's waiting on behalf of his art seller. He's got to finish this painting, and that's how he makes his money. And I guess momentarily he's kind of struggling to find his muse or keep his muse. He's been working on this painting for a long time. He's getting a lot of pressure from outside sources to finish the work, as well as feeling a bit insecure in his triangle relationship. One of his girlfriends has kind of maybe been questioning his art, you know, his method or his talent, just as he is internally. And, you know, she collects alimony from a previous relationship, and that's basically paying for their survival, not just you know, like eating once every 2 days kind of survival and paying rent. And a rock band moves into their building upstairs, and they just practice 25 hours a day.
Yes. It's almost like, okay, there is drilling killing that happens, but it is almost like Annoy Reno, the movie. Like
Right.
his girlfriends annoy him. A band moves in to his building,
Man.
and annoys him. One of my favorite lines is his girlfriend's, you know, talking about the band who are called the Roosters. I think it's Tony Coca-Cola and the Roosters.
Right.
And she mentions, oh, they sound great on the album. And and Rito just can't believe that they actually have he's like, album? These guys have an album? He just can't believe it. He's so disgusted with this band. It moved into his space. Oh.
So as all this is happening to Reno, he starts sort of having these premonitions or visual fantasies of him getting splattered in blood, or him maybe taking part in some kind of nasty stuff. But you can tell he's kind of trying to push that stuff away because it's obviously not natural for him to be, for that kind of stuff to be popping into his brain. All the while, his nerves are just being worked raw, like a guitar string on one of these guitars up in the loft of the Roosters. I mean, he is just being spread super thin, and lo and behold, the mother of all inventions is a belt / battery pack where you could plug in electric appliances.
The Porto Pack.
The Porta Pack, obviously top-notch commercial shooting.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen one of these things? Were these things like, they didn't make this up for the movie, right? I mean, the commercial they made up, obviously.
Now, introducing an amazing new electrical device, Porta Pack. Used with any household appliance, wherever electricity is needed but not available. At the beach, camping, or just around the house. Lightweight, easy to use with any electrical appliance. Hair dryer, electric shaver, blenders, toasters, vacuum cleaners, stereo, power tools, even radio and TV. Anything that plugs into your wall sockets will plug into Porta Pack. That's right, Porta Pack, only $19.95. Discover Porta Pack now, available at Macy's, Gimbel's, Two Guys, and any participating hardware store near you. Get it now, Porta Pack. That's just $19.95. Porta Pack.
But the, like a belt, I guess, just filled with batteries. I mean, that must have been a thing, like in the late 70s. To
Yeah, I could see them trying to pull that off. How many D batteries or something with that? I mean, were you like recharging mini car batteries in that thing? Is that a one-time use Porta Pack?
And it must have been so heavy, like just pulling your pants down all day long.
Yeah, working, like chafing your hip skin. And he's at a certain point, one of his other girlfriends, Pamela, has him drill a hole in a door after probably a 10-minute scene of trying to figure out where she wants the hole in the door. Like, the patience taken is so anxiety inducing. You're almost positive that Reno was going to lash out with that drill right there, because it's the movie's called Drill or Killer, so some killing happens.
It's like one of the first scenes in the movie, and it's just like, he's like, all right, you want me to drill the hole here? And she's like, yes. Yeah, right there. And he goes to drill it, and she's like, no, wait.
Pamela, what are you doing?
I'm trying to put the hole here.
You're gonna kill yourself. Give me this thing, man.
Okay.
Wait. Give me this. Watch. It's in your... Okay, get back. What do you want over here?
I want it right there.
Where? You want to put a hole right here?
Yeah.
All right. Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I want it over there.
Over here?
On the right side.
On this side? All right.
I want it over there.
Over here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right there? What do you want?
I think I want it up there.
You want it up there? Over here?
To the center.
All right. You sure?
Uh-huh.
And it goes on for way too long. And yeah, you're right. It's like, wow, is the killing going to start right now? Like,
right. It's 12 minutes into the movie, and the killing doesn't start until like minute 40.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is just the patience of this man is amazing.
That scene right there sold me. Like, I was on board.
Yeah. Oh, the black comedy in the movie is so good. Reno's nerves get worked, and he starts killing people with a drill, drilling and killing. But most of his kills, I think he's got like demons he's got to work out. So he literally just takes his murderous rampages out on the derelicts and homeless of New York City.
Yeah.
And I question why that was, when he's got so many other things. I guess it would be too on the nose if he just murdered all the people in his life, right?
Yeah. I guess he was just trying to, like, when he's relenting to these urges, but instead of like going public with them, he's like, all right, I'm just gonna kill some bums, some street people,
right?
That no one will miss, unfortunately.
Which is completely interesting to me, because in an earlier scene, he's kind of hanging out with them.
Yeah,
and he has some sort of base level relationship where they know each other at the very least, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care about that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it's still like he's still just, even though he's friendly with them, he's like, he probably still sees them as animals. They're just like, they're below the regular human human
Yeah.
beings walking around, you know.
And that's it. He drills and kills with this thing, and he does it enough. Sometimes his nerves get worked so much that he's got to do it, more than once. It starts off one a night every couple nights or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he eventually goes off, and then he murders the people in his life because of circumstances, and things just don't go his way. And that's where we get the driller killer. Now, so on to that. That was sort of the synopsis / we started reviewing the movie, but
yeah.
so his first kill, right? So what I admire and what I think is cool is not this super dramatic, like torture porn kind of scenario when he goes to kill these people. He just finds a spot on their body and rams the drill inside of them and like blends their inside. Like his first bum kill was like he was trying to whip up a meringue by hand, like the inside of this bum is like a slurry by the time this 3-inch drill bit is inside this bum's like side. It's not anywhere in particular. It's just like rammed in the side of this bum or the thigh.
Yeah.
And it just goes to town.
Yeah. And realistically, like a lot of them, he only drills in one spot, and it's like, I don't know if these people would die.
It might cause an amputation. I mean, if he's like starting to grind and pulp up bone or something, they're gonna have damage for sure.
Yeah, he makes a good show of it. It's good. And the other part that really, okay, so that first scene drilling in the door, but then when he started to have the flash forwards or whatever of him screaming, the slow motion of him screaming covered in blood, or like blood splashing on his face.
Yeah,
that was great. That made me very excited to see where this went. Because they just kept dropping it in. It kept getting, and the shot kept getting longer and longer every time they dropped it in. You're like, oh man, there's some,
Yeah, and there was more and more carnage every time they showed the shot. Like there was just more, blood behind and blood like caught in his hair. It was everywhere. It was like, where are we going with this? Where's this taking us?
Yeah,
and you're right. Crazy.
Each kill, like the kills got ramped up until he did that. I think that one night where he kind of goes on a rampage was that after he went to the Roosters concert, and I think he got into a fight with Carol and then left, and somehow his magic belt appeared. Like, I'm sure Carol would have noticed if he had the porta pack on. His bat walking around with batteries in the bar. Or at Max's Kansas City or wherever they were. Yeah,
Carol's like, we used to like doing this kind of stuff. This used to be fun. And she's like trying to rub up on him. I mean, she would have noticed the 20-pound porta pack around his waist.
Totally.
He had it there just in case. And like the drill, a full-on power drill, 1970s power drill, like stuffed in the back of his pants, like it was a handgun.
I do love how he would keep, like before he would kill someone, he'd have the drill behind his back, like they couldn't, and just start making the drill sound, but wait, I can't see that drill, but I hear something.
And then the few times he would literally like flaunt it and like push it to, like shove it to him, like and drill it, and they were not intimidated because they were like, oh, what are you doing with this power drill?
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's not intimidating. You're not intimidating me. You're just not saying anything. You're just another crazy New Yorker.
Yeah, join the club.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, pull up a chair. I have this, greasy fingerprinted bottle of booze. And then he decides, no, I mean business, and he starts drilling their bodies to the heavens.
Yeah, lots of screaming.
That's when he goes on his super murder bum rampages the night of the concert. And he has a fight, and he just goes off, and he just finds any bum he can find, and he goes off.
He doesn't care.
He kissed one of his victims on the cheek or his forehead. Like, what?
And I think that is when we got the scene where he drills in the guy's forehead, which is probably the gnarliest kill in the movie. Because before it was always just in like their trunk, their body, their torso or whatever, and it was just like oozing grossness. But They did. They brought out some money, and the special effects guys was like, all right, we're gonna drill into this guy's forehead. It's gonna be great. And it looked great. I was surprised.
I mean, for a first movie on a low budget, it was a great special effect. And I mean, it's clearly a human being he's drilling into, and they must have had some sort of protection there. You can tell the drill is going in reverse, I think, to maybe that there's like an extra step of safety, as much safety as you can have for the drill, a live drill pressing into somebody's forehead.
Yes.
Maybe they had like a steel plate like makeup over this person's head. I mean, because in reality, it's a great special effect, but he doesn't like drill in deep with his drill. It's the tip of the drill, but it's you're not supposed to notice that. And but I mean, they really go in with the effects and the blood there, and it was a treat because there was always like different levels of carnage, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. Because,
no, totally.
Like some certain movies with like scenes like that, your stomach could turn, and it's just, I don't know, it's in poor taste, but they're not all in great taste anyway.
No, it was a good like goofiness to gore level where it's like, obviously this is not real, but it's real enough where it's fun.
And the only time he seems to ever change his dirty, stinky outfit is maybe when he gets blood on it, because otherwise he just wears a denim outfit the entire time. And imagine him like laying around on those dirty carpets with that dirty denim outfit on, that dirty hamburger meat chest.
I think about like the way people smell a lot, like in movies. Like if I'm watching like an old like period piece, I'm always like, man, these people must stink, and their breath must be really bad. But these, this is like 70. What did they shot this 77, 78 in punk rock New York. And we should probably talk about the music. So they have this band, the Roosters, which I think was kind of a real band. I don't think they ever had any big hits, but they were kind of good. They were just like a kind of a straight up rock and roll band, but through the New York punk lens. So it was a little dirtier, but I loved all the music in it because it was real, and it seemed like they were like playing live a lot of the time.
I thought so too. They really were like piping in the feed from this live practice, and I was watching the movie with subtitles on, which really helped a lot for the lyrics of the songs because they were in there. So it gave the songs like a little more life. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just racket and noise. It just wasn't Reno's taste in music. But these, but these guys were, it was amazing. Like they're just renting out this dirt building, like the top floor of this dirt crap building, you know what I mean? And they're just playing and they're just living. And it's an amazing, like it just made me feel like, oh my God, this is what people did. Like people aren't just always working for the man, you know what I mean? Like they're just getting by, making money, doing what they love, and driving their tenants crazy.
That's the thing that this movie was like. It was like, okay, I know what Abel Ferrara's movies are like. But it was almost like he came out fully formed from birth because it felt very much like one of his movies. It had like, the random shots of people on the street who are real people, and just like the idea of this band just playing and it's not like there's nothing particularly important to the plot going on, but it's just like real people hanging out and practicing their music or like getting ready before the show to go on stage.
That's actually a really great point. It was real prep for real stuff. And you're right. I mean, it wasn't doing anything to push the plot along, but it was kind of like these cross-sectional cuts of like real stuff that was happening in the same apartment building as this movie was being shot.
Yeah, totally. And that reminds me, there's the scenes with, I think, a bum outside the apartment building. And he's being annoyed by the music?
Where does he get off? Like he can move, he can leave. He move. He's totally annoyed by he is like jumping up and down on the fire escapes. He's just like, this is like, where do they get off playing their music? I'm out here.
And did Reno kill him?
Yeah, this is the one.
He did?
The same night. I mean, they should be best friends complaining about this band. They should have formed a team.
They should have bonded.
But
you should have waited.
This is the one where, like, Reno, like, drills his hands into two separate brick walls.
Oh, that's right. And that was a little unbelievable. Did he, like, pull out screws for each hand?
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy, can you hold your hand on this brick wall?
Yeah, I was like, did he just, like, snap off the drill bit as that was still inside the hand?
Did he have to change to a mason bit to drill the hole first and then get the screw out to make sure?
Well, that's when he bought those mason bits when he went to buy the porta-pack inside the hardware store.
Okay.
As he's like longingly staring into the hardware store window. It's like hanging in the window, the porta-pack. He's like, you know what? This is my time.
This is it.
He's like, I'm going to get it. If I decide I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to get this porta-pack now. I'm going to go in there and I'm just
going to get it.
Which reminds me,
I'll have it just in case. Yeah.
Which reminds me of the one of the best musical cues in the whole movie. I'm only going to play this here because I have it queued up in our my ramshackle setup. It's going to get better, but the musical cue for this is amazing because it just sets up like this level of creepiness, and it starts when he's first staring into the quarterback. Can you hear? So good. I mean, it's so good. It's so like a bass sound.
Yeah.
But I loved it. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is like music. This is music.
Yes. There was some good stuff. There was also the I think it was Bach. I'm not a classical guy, but it was like early like synthesizer Bach, like in the soundtrack, which was really cool. Probably because he could just use it. It was probably cheap because it was classical music, right?
It's like one of the Tri-Lambs will be playing, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
You need your suitcase, man!
I loved all the fashion and style especially the women. Like that was like, again, like if you were trying to make a New York in the 70s punk rock movie now, like it would be so ridiculous. But like, because they shot it in that world and probably just had the actors wear their regular clothes,
it looked
so perfect.
The actors just brought what they owned.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was so beautiful. So there's a lot of drilling killing in this movie, but can I reveal to you the scene that disgusted me the most was when Reno, I think it's a post night of killing, and he worked up an appetite. And so Reno comes home and he opens his like fridge that barely has anything in it, and he pulls out a God knows how old Big Mac from McDonald's. God.
And when we say Big Mac, it's like the styrofoam container from that you would see on the side of the street in the curb from 1975. Like I forgot those styrofoam containers existed.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. It's there's so much that comes back when he pulls that thing out of the fridge, and you're like, oh God, who knows how long it's been in there? Yeah. And he just shoves it in his maw
with a huge swig of an already open can of beer. And then he takes a huge swig of milk.
And milk. Yeah. Beer and then milk. Oh my God.
He was so hungry. This killer needed to be satiated.
He needed beer and milk stat.
And this Big Mac that was bought with alimony money. Reno's probably working on Reno the entire time.
Oh God, he hated that burger. That's probably why I was sitting in there. He didn't want to eat it for so long.
Until he was just so hungry that he couldn't even contain himself.
I do like how much Reno would call his girlfriend man during one of their many fights. It's such a Harvey Picar, like, you know, that age man, just like, hey man, what's your problem, man? You know,
yeah, he's just constantly in her face. What are you doing, man? I'm working on it, man. She's like hassling him to get the art done. What do you ride me for, man? I'm working on it, man.
And should we describe the painting he's making? It's like a big buffalo.
Oh man, yeah,
like a beautifully painted buffalo with like weird strips of color around, like blue, like it look like laser beams like curling around it in space. Yeah, it's kind of a cool painting.
It is. I think it's great. I mean, I don't know how to judge. I loved it, but obviously Reno was feeling it because, you know, so much of it did not change. It was mostly done at the start of the movie, but you know, he's just kind of like sit there and staring at it and just working on the last finishing touches of it. And you know, and then it's like the big presentation, like he's finally ready to reveal it to his art dealer who can sell it in a gallery or something, and the art dealer just tells him it's crap.
No, this isn't right. This is nothing. This is shit. Where's the impact? It's just a goddamn buffalo. This is nothing like your other works. This is far from your best stuff, and the size can't hide it. Reno, the worst thing that can happen to a painter is happening to you. You're becoming simply a technician.
Yeah.
With his weird hair.
He shuts him down hard. Oh, yeah, with his weird hair. What was that guy's name?
I say it was Donovan or... No, it wasn't Donovan.
I don't know. Harry? Was it Harry? I don't know. But yeah, art dealer guy.
I mean, he had like it was like a Squire haircut. Like... Like yeah. I don't. I could think of it as a Squire or like a Tilda Swinton when she's a boy haircut, you know,
or like the manager from Spinal Tap. He has the same kind of haircut.
But this guy's like serious sleaze. It's not a comedy.
No. There's no one. I mean, the only person I love in this movie is probably Pamela.
Totally
played by Baby Day. She's like the real punk rock roommate.
Man,
who's just, you know, she's super young. She just wants to have fun.
Yeah.
She's just looking to score, you know, go out, drink with the band, the Roosters, you know, whatever.
Yeah, man, she's up there.
She just wants to have fun.
She's just ready to hang and party with whoever. She's ready to, you know, make love in the shower with whoever's in the shower with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. She just wants to have fun. She wants to get holes drilled into a door and she wants to do drugs and party. And I was down with that.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was great. I want to know what that hole was for in the door, because it was the bathroom door. It wasn't like to the hallway. She wasn't drilling a peephole, right? Or maybe she was.
Yeah. And why off center so many peepholes? Like the drill hole had the potential of being drilled anywhere on that door. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
What was your spaced out mind doing? At the one of the last scenes, as like the art dealer is getting murdered by the driller. One of the last scenes is like a close up of her, and she's kind of like looking into the camera, but she's like on all fours. She looked dead in that shot. Like it just looked like a different level of picture or something. It was just this close up of her face with glasses on.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice. You're talking about like she opens the door and the guy's stuck. He's the art dealer's drilled to the door.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of, and yeah, I mean, with that shot, it's kind of hinted she got killed by Reno. But I thought it was cool that we don't see either one of the girlfriends get killed. And I don't know if it was like Abel was like, "Hey man, I don't want to kill a lady on film. That's not cool."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or what? But it seemed like it was a conscious choice because all the men, you know, got killed, and they showed everything. it has a cool ending. It's like he goes, oh, so by this time Carol had left Reno. She's like had enough of his shit and went back to her ex-husband or whatever in his like stupid apartment with his stupid robe. That guy. Oh my God.
Please somebody watch this movie and send us a letter when we have a letter account set up. This apartment was, I don't even know. Like, this is an apartment of a man who has to pay alimony to somebody because he's got so much money? Like, this bathroom in this man's apartment is, it's like makeshift with rain barrels for a counter and this weird full carpet in the bathroom is, I mean, that is another level of old taste right there.
It's New York in the 70s, man.
You're right.
Like,
I wonder how many apartments still exist
like a war zone
in New York that are still like this. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing the main apartment in this was Abel's, his real life apartment. It's the place he lived. I've read that they actually used his place. It's like on Union Square or something.
Man.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he still has that place because that's like what New York people do, right? They got the rent control, so they never give it up, So who knows? Maybe he's still living there with the Roosters above him.
Yeah, with his building super that lives in the basement.
Oh man,
what?
Yeah. You mentioned that off air. This building super guy and just the idea of like the building super as a character, like because we don't live in New York, so that's like a novelty thing for us.
Yeah, it's like, occasionally you'll see a movie where the super lives in the building. Like, how much is he supporting where he's got to live in a building and that's his full-time job? But he gets like free room and board.
Closet full of doorknobs, hinges and tools and
the
stuff.
same shared closet as his his two flannels. Before Reno starts the killing, this could have been very well like given him the courage to try it himself, but the super as a token of gratitude and a gesture of goodwill gives him a skinned hanging in his closet rabbit to enjoy for a meal.
Oh my God, I forgot
in New York City.
About this. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, where did he get that? Central Park? Like, I don't know where you get a rabbit. I mean, I guess maybe you can get a rabbit at the butcher shop. I don't know. But it was hanging in his closet like he was the one who apprehended this poor rabbit.
Yeah, it was hanging in that thing like Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings. Like, it was Chuck, you're not going to goddamn tell me that wasn't a real rabbit.
Oh, that was a real rabbit,
That was a real rabbit, field-dressed.
I am not going to try and pretty this up in any way, shape, or form. And then Reno, for some reason... Was that before he killed anyone?
It was, yeah.
Okay. So the rabbit was sort of his practice killing.
Sure.
Even though it was already dead. But Reno did
It was already dead, and they just started stabbing it in the head with a long knife. Over and over again.
Yeah.
It was
over and over and over again.
And
I was looking at my watch. I was like, all right, let's let's hurry this up.
Yeah, like anything but that. You could just stick the drill in as many people as you want. Just stop stabbing this dead rabbit's head.
Yeah.
So when he eventually decides that he's going to start killing the people in his life and he wants to kill the art dealer, he invites the art dealer over under the guise of him wanting to apologize. The art dealer offers to bring wine and bread over. What was that?
Well, I think the art dealer thought he was going to get lucky.
Yeah.
Because I think Reno let him on a little bit.
That's what I think too, Chuck.
I think he told him on that phone call. Yeah. So he was expecting a little something, just not what, he got something.
Yeah, he was
not what he wanted though. And that was a little dumb because he cornered him like up against the door to the apartment, but I was like, dude, just go out the door. Like, you're right there.
Yeah. And this is where Reno has them all fooled, right? Because he's sitting there flopping around with his drill, and the guy's like, okay, put the drill down. Like, Reno, let's get ready for not selling art. You know what I'm saying? Put the drill down, and then Reno's like, you know what? Ah, and he just like starts drilling.
Don't be a fool. All right, this afternoon, I was saying about the buffalo is wrong, all right? Reno, please listen to me. Please listen to me, Reno. Reno, please, my God, Reno!
And he should have just left because it was up against the door he could have escaped from.
Yeah, it's the only entrance except maybe the window. But
then he goes over to the terrible husband's apartment and his terrible apartment, which and the way this movie ends, I loved.
Yes, I'm so glad you loved it because I loved it so much.
It was stringing us along so bad. So Carol's in the shower. Driller killer kills the husband, the ex-husband, and then he gets into bed. Carol comes into the bedroom from the bathroom. He's like, "Oh, you're in bed already?" Turns the lights out, gets in the bed, and from at this point on, the movie is completely black.
It's totally black. Yeah, you can't see anything.
And Carol is just begging the husband, like, "Come closer. Come. What are you doing? Come closer."
Kept the bed so warm. Stephen, come closer. Stephen. Are you avoiding me now? Stephen, come here. Stephen. Stephen.
And the movie just ends. You don't hear any drill sounds. You don't hear anything.
Yes.
It's like a good 15 seconds of in the dark.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable. Great ending. Oh, I was so happy with that. But yeah, So this movie was, when we went to watch this on, I think it was Prime. We saw that there were like 22 different versions of this movie up there.
Yeah.
And I did notice that like there were only two versions. One ran a bit longer, and the scan of the print was way better. And I did some research, and when Arrow Video did a release of this movie a few years ago, they did a new scan. But the copy they got, they noticed, hey, this is like 5 minutes or like 7 minutes longer than what it's supposed to be. And they asked Abel, I was like, hey, what's the deal with this? And he's like, oh, it was the cut I made before it went to theaters. So there were some cuts. So we saw extra stuff. And
whoa,
the one thing that was cut from the theatrical was the lesbian shower scene.
Okay.
They didn't cut any violence, just that scene.
That was
which is very American.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Wow. That's great.
I mean, that was like, close to porno territory.
Oh yeah, I mean they were pushing it as much as they could. For a mainstream air quote movie. I mean they were getting down, and that Chuck, I think that definitely explained the tri-love that this apartment full of people were experiencing. That and that scene kind of helped push it through for sure.
I think they cut out one of the long arguments that Reno and Carol had, and the shot of the Goodyear blimp, which if you blinked you'd miss it. But
oh man,
maybe they're worried about getting sued.
I bet you they had a lot of problems with that. This was one of the quote video nasties that was banned in the UK for so many years.
Yeah, I remember as a young, or maybe an early 20-something, or maybe no, I was like 19. I used to go to Barnes and Noble and buy this magazine that it was like a British magazine, and I think in there, I forget the name of it, but there was articles about the video nasties. Yes. And I was intrigued by this. And I guess it was just like in the 70s and 80s when, home movies happened. There were, Britain, the government freaked out and like banned this list of
because it was just
movies.
Too awful for the human consumption. Like these people were not going to be seeing what was on this film. It's too filthy.
Yes. And this one was, and Driller Killer was one of the big ones, but it wasn't for the movie. It was just the poster. Because an ad was in a magazine or no, it was in a newspaper in England of the guy getting drilled in the forehead. And that was too much for people. People flipped out.
And I did take notice of the poster after I watched the movie, and huge spoilers on that poster.
Oh yeah, total. Yeah.
So if you're not willing to be spoiled, don't try not to seek out the movie poster to this. But as you can figure from the name of the movie, there are people on this poster that get killed.
Oh, did you catch the lightsaber? What I think was a toy lightsaber that he was playing with, Reno. Like it's just like a scene, just one of the random scenes where he's in his apartment alone, and he has this like white lightsaber. It looked like the lightsabers my brothers.
Yeah, that would have been like OG lightsaber from Mattel. Like that was the first line after the after the line of toys after the movie came out. That is definite lightsaber material right there.
Yeah. I thought that was
another
cool.
bit of trivia here. Abel Ferrara jokingly claimed that the black guy cleaning the taxicab windscreen near the beginning of the movie was Bruce Willis. Yeah. So
what? You can't believe anything Abel Ferrara says. He's one of these guys. He's famous for being invited to do they'll show his movies and then do a Q&A afterwards on a panel, and he will just lay into whoever's asking him the questions and just be a complete asshole and just ruin whoever this person's day is. It's probably just he's just uncomfortable being up there, so that's his goal is to make them feel uncomfortable.
That sounds like a nightmare situation. That's why I would probably never ask a question in that scenario, just because of
God, no. So I mean, just like to wrap it up, I went in thinking I'm not gonna like it, and the movie, like a lot of Abel Ferrara movies, I love them, but they also bore me. if that can be true at the same time. Like I love them. I love everything about them. I love the passion he puts in. I love all the real people he'll put in movies, and it feels more true to life than even though it's about a guy drilling people. But maybe that boredom that I get is sort of like part of when you're depicting true life. That's kind of like what it's like. But I really liked this movie way more than I thought I was gonna. It had a lot to it. I think because of the title, like you see the title, it's like, all right, like you kind of peg it as one thing. I was way more into like who Reno was as a person. He wasn't just like a boring person in another, slasher movie. I was like, oh man, he's a painter. What the hell, painting this?
Yeah,
buffalo?
right. He's trying to hold on to his muse. He's trying to maintain his integrity and be this painter that he's only painting for himself, and maybe he can pay next month's rent with the product. But it just felt so real. Like it just felt like you take the drilling and the killing out of it. This is just a group of people eking out a living, man. And there was just the setting where they lived was such a character in the movie, and I honestly loved it. I'm glad. This was a great first movie for us to do, but this is the kind of stuff that I dig, and I can't wait. I can't wait to seek more of this out and be pleasantly surprised when we go to watch, one kind of movie and it ends up being a multifaceted kind of joyous piece like this. It was absolutely great.
Us picking this movie is perfect, because it's why I watch these garbage movies, because for the thrill of finding the one out of 50 that is like, oh wow, look, they did something really interesting here. It's like digging for comic books in the quarter bin, or like going to the Salvation Army, digging for gold, and like you go like 10 times and you finally find that thing. You're like, oh my god,
so worth it.
I think because there are long stretches where you watch a lot of crappy ones, and I'll sort of fall out of it. Like, all right, I got to watch a good movie.
Yeah, I think we owe it to ourselves to kind of maintain, you know what I mean, and like maybe have those movies in reserve when we got to bring one up from the benches and kind of refresh our desire and motivation.
Yeah, and above all, I just want this thing to be a fun thing, for us to do, and hopefully some people enjoy listening to us talk about these movies.
Definitely.
That's another scene that was him live painting Tony Coca-Cola. That was amazing, actually. I'm not sure how they did that.
That was, I know, right? Because
unless Abel can, maybe he can draw and paint.
Like, they pulled it off so well. I was actually kind of staring at, trying to pay attention to how their process was. And for some of the cuts, he was clearly only painting like in one lower quadrant. And that was before the finished project was out. But I mean, it was so good because you know what? Like, he's an artist and but he needs to earn that money too. So as much as it's so funny because he hates the Roosters. He hates the music that it is impinging on his brain space. He hates them, but
yeah, and the lead singer just walks into his apartment.
He just waltzes in without knocking,
like he owns the place. And I was like, oh, here we go. Here's another victim for the drug killer.
No, it's just like he said, $500. I'll paint you.
I mean, if somebody needed something special, a thing, could you do it? What are you talking about, man? I need something special. Like this. But me. Could you do that? You want to know if I could do a painting of you? If I could do your portrait? Yeah, I could do your portrait. It would cost you $500.
Okay. Like, Tony Coca-Cola's like, yeah, okay. So that's a different level that he's on because he's dropping $500 for a portrait of himself. And Reno is like, can't pay the rent.
Yeah. Where's Tony getting $500?
I mean, they're probably playing what, 5-6 gigs a week? You think?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's a different time, Chuck.
But yeah. Money had no meaning then. Our theme song was created by Tobey Forsman of Whipsong Music. Find out more at whipsongmusic.com.